let's do the show, the New True Show. Clara Apollo, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, peeps.
People.
It's a new moon today. It's a new moon in Libra, and it's a super moon, and there's 3 super moons in a row for the next week, last month, this month, and next month. But this is the one where it's closest to the Earth, so it really is the seeding. It's seeding what it is you want and what you really, really want. I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I mean, really, we do. This is it. Haven't we been talking about this for ages? Where you place your mind, that's where the energy flows. It is time to manifest your future, what you really want to happen. And what does that mean for you, Leah?
Well, it's like, what is your new true? What does it mean for me? I just continue to exactly keep my feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I actually do Qigong, because it does keep me grounded. Oh, I've been on so many calls this week that people are really feeling the energy right now of the disharmony and the stuff behind the scenes that's not awesome. So you can take people to wellness really quickly when they know some just really simple breathing skills, which is so powerful. Instead of making and letting people suffer, which I think is part of when you say what's for me, it's the suffering that I see people in, and that they don't have the tools to do something. And so that's kind of what's coming through for me, is that we've really lost the compassion where we help people in the moment of their suffering to have relief, and not because we've given them an antidote, but because they're practicing an antidote.
Oh, I love it. And this is what the new true is about, is where is your truth around this? And when you find your truth, how can you share it with others so they can access theirs? Because if we're there trying to make it all better for everybody, we're not actually helping. It's to be the support so that they can find ways through themselves. I mean, I know there are practical ways that we can help one another, of course, but when it comes to personal energy management and personal mind management and personal body management, it's like, what are the tools and texts that help you, and what are the tools and texts? And when you talk about what helps you, it might just pique I could try that myself, because I don't think anybody likes being told what to do they?
Not particularly. They don't. There seems to be a lot of resistance around that until they're at a breaking point. Aren't we so weird? It's just, that's so weird. Oh, you're laying there bleeding on the street. And trust me, I've done this myself. So I know. It's like, I'm not going to tell anybody what's going on. Because, we've been indoctrinated to believe that we can handle it, get up, rub some dirt in it, don't talk about it. No one's going to listen to you anyway. No one's going to listen to you anyway. There's a theme, right? Not having a voice. A lot of people feel like they're choked. Hear that? A lot of people now I feel like I'm choking on my words. I feel like I can't breathe. That something's blocking my energy right here. And it's,
the old muzzling up. So this is a very key point. So here on the New True Show, we are speaking into the truth of the moment whenever we can. I know you have really cool people on your show, Master Your Life, as I do on Chi Time, always talking about the energy behind everything. And we're in a big quagmire right now. And I've just been on retreat for 6 days. I'm literally on day 2 of coming out of retreat. I have so much energy.
Re-entry.
It wasn't like chill out and meditate all time, although that would have been fun. It was it was taking stuff on, it was working with 8 other people, and really going into the whole the mire of the messiness. And one of the big things that came up right at the beginning is that, where do you self-advocate? Where do you stand up for yourself? Where do you speak your truth in the moment? And if you don't, why don't you? This was massive for me. I thought I was pretty outspoken, but actually I've always been aware from my background, my training from my society and parents, is that be concerned about your impact on others. That has to be the most. I might upset somebody if I say this, or if I do this, somebody might not like it. All this little stuff in your mind. It's not actually real. People actually don't give a about what you're doing generally, unless. Sorry. Whoop, whoop.
Right.
So where do we edit ourselves because of old patterning? And where could we actually come and say, actually, I do need that, or I don't need that? And masks is a really good example. So self-advocacy, really big.
And so did you come out with something clear for you about what you're going to do when it comes to that?
Well, it's an ongoing thing, because I think when you feel held and recognized and acknowledged by other people, that say, I want to hear what the mess is like. Go on, tell us how difficult it is for you, the bit, without making excuses or reasons. This is just how it is. Blah, 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 blah. Being held in that space, that allows you to process it through and go like, oh, I can do this then. I can be my messy self, and I can be my brilliant self, you know,
Right.
and I don't have to be a particular version of me with anyone. I can just be me in that moment. And that we all have a spectrum within our personality and our soul. Sometimes we feel a bit like tired, sometimes we feel up, and all the ones in between. We're not supposed to be a homogenized version of ourselves. We're meant to be like, allow ourselves to have the rainbow of emotions and feelings, and also get to know this depth of self that is sort of deep within us as well, that there is the constant, there is the witness bearer that's observing these ebbs and flows. So yeah, that piece about standing up for what I believe in is leading in very much into what I'm not prepared to do in this current situation that we're in, which is go along with the mainstream manipulative misleading of mankind. That I think both of us are pretty much in agreement with that, aren't we, Leah?
Oh, definitely. And not because we're woo-woo, it's because there's actually lots of science around this, and everyday new stuff is coming out. So I want to go back a little bit in your lessons, because I think this speaks to a lot of people, is the way that we need to perform. The performance that we need to have in order for people to like us or to be part of the crowd or whatever it is so it's so insidious. This week I had a friend say that she had got her teenage kids, a mask exemption for school, and that her daughter, who's in grade 12, actually called the school and said, "Mom's just having a bad day. I'm okay with wearing the mask." And isn't that horrifying? And it's because, my background's actually in counseling, so youth in particular. I said to the mom, that's really normal at that age and stage for them, the opinion of their cohorts to be more important than the opinion of the parent. And they would rather do anything than be outside of the tribe, especially in high school. And so what a horrible position that our children have been put into. And that just the stress of not fitting in, or feeling, shame, humiliation, exclusion. And that if we think that we as adults are having a hard time handling that, imagine what it's like for kids. Like, I joked around, I said, God, do you remember when it used to be the good old days? We worry about, teach them not to smoke, teach them not to drink, teach them not to have underage sex. And now we've got to worry about vaccines and masks. It's a completely different landscape.
And also the other piece of this is that not getting close to people. So I'm going to fess up here. I mean, we had there was a load of bean bags on the floor. We were in this old revamped church. It was just an amazing energy. And in the evenings we'd meet in the altars end of the church, and it was really nicely done, big sort of bean bags, and we had our snuggly bits, and we were all next to it. It's like a kid's sleepover party where you could feel somebody next to you, their arms are there, you was holding someone's shoulder there, your legs were touching, and it was all just, there was no fear about touching somebody else's body and feeling their warmth and their breath and all of that. It's like, we mustn't forget this. This is a really normal part of being human, that human contact, that feeling connection. It's and to feel that we're being encouraged by society to shy away, to close in, like, I don't want to touch someone. That is really, really bad for us as humans, for our souls to feel that nourishment. We're going to get more and more distant, isolating, and feel that other people are harboring things that are going to harm us, as opposed to other people can give us so much support, reassurance, connection, beauty. Let's not forget what it really means to be a spiritual being having a human experience on the planet at the moment.
Yes, well put. Well put. That is absolutely, we are human beings, not alternate beings. And we shouldn't be flinching when we see each other. Like, that's the weirdest thing. It's like people flinching. What are you doing? Come here and give me a hug, you little turkey.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, who was it said that one thing that humans are really good at is hugging? Don't take that away from us. So behind the scenes, this is what a lot of us are doing. Obviously, we're all healthy and strong and stuff like. We're not,
Right.
you know,
and we're not
taking risks.
and also let's speak to the science of this a little bit, because I do want people to understand that we know there's a virus. There's a virus every year, people. There's viruses go around the world every year. It's seasonal. It's a seasonal thing. If you live on this globe, you know that you've seen the flu virus go through and colds go through, and you can count on it happening every spring and fall. This is not a new phenomenon. The only new thing here is that there's been a spotlight shone on it, and it's been amplified 10,000 times, and it's very fictional. And so want just you to understand that this is the same thing as having the seasonal flu or a seasonal cold or a seasonal whatever it is that's coming next. And I can't even say the word, but you know the virus, it's been around for a very long time. And the reason viruses happen is so that we actually can get better. So we have a virus and we grow a little bit. We have a virus and we grow a little bit. You know, when you fight something off and you have that little bit of symptoms in your body, some people have symptoms, some people have no symptoms, but you've been through the whole trajectory of the virus and long before this virus. So this has been going on since mankind has been on the planet, as far as we can scientifically, when they started doing the science around this, we can see that it's happened. So now the WHO has come out, of course, finally, with that their lockdown measures were draconian and encouraging people to not, please stop doing that. That's what the WHO has said. Very concerning, Clara, because countries now, the bureaucrats have got hold of this idea, and the politicians, and they are carrying on with these draconian measures. So when we're talking about the truth coming through, is that all people need to really understand that it's like the emperor's new clothing. This at this time right now, the WHO has been snowing people for months and months. Those people have never missed a meal in their life. Trust me. So they do not have the experience, nor will they ever have the experience of somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck, or somebody who is very concerned about putting a meal on the table for their family, or people who are getting food out of the food bank. None of that shit. So here they come out, some fat bastard, and I'm actually going to say it exactly like that, came out, and they're the ones that are talking about this change now, the WHO is having this opposite direction. You guys go check out the videos for yourself. And the absolute, not human, not humble, no humility of these people to be able to look at their fellow man in March. These people are educated. They're supposed to be leading us, and they wouldn't have gone. Not going to work and not hanging out with your friends is a bad idea. Like, they're not that stupid. Trust me, they are not that stupid. So there is something behind this play. And so the truth that's coming through is, I think that it's all about the vaccines, and that they want people to get vaccinated. On the ground here in Canada right now, we have troops that are not Canadian troops on both shores. We have them seen in the BC side of Canada, and on the Ontario or Quebec side of Canada. So this is not, we live in Edmonton, but in a province called Alberta. So you guys can get your maps out, folks. If you don't know Canada, take a look at where I live, Alberta, Canada, which is the middle of the country, basically. And so what in the actual hell are Antifa troops doing here in Red Deer, Alberta, who has a population of 30,000 people in the city?
Exactly. We are
30
not
to 60,000. Like,
we are not being told the truth. And I just think we also just need to mention too that some people die from flu viruses every year, and and it is really sad, and it's not if it can be avoided, really good, but if it there are some things that can't be. But there's more people that
we die. Here's the other thing, guys, we die. We die.
But there are more deaths from cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, and there's people that haven't been able to go and see their doctors because they're scared about catching this virus. Right. Which
people under 30 are more likely to get hit by lightning than to be sick from this thing and die from it.
you know, you are brilliant at doing your research, Leah. I mean, I always go to you and go, have you heard about this yet? And you usually have. And one of the ones that we were chatting about yesterday was the Doctors of Truth. Because on the last time we spoke, it was like, where is the voice of reason? Where are the people that actually got the real stats and know about it? Or the doctors and the scientists that are now coming together and speaking like just what you said in Doctor in the Netherlands. It's saying it is no more than the usual flu is now. We've never done this before for flu, and it's this kind of this manipulation of people's minds for some agenda that, I mean, whatever you want to call it, conspiracy theory or not, I hate that word. Let's look behind the scenes at other things that could be going on. Let's look at the little whispers that we're picking up and going, that doesn't feel right, and that really doesn't feel right. And isn't there now a lawyer on the case with this? It's actually what's he doing? Is it Dr. Reiner Friedel? If I can't even pronounce it, Friedel-Mich, the lawyer who specializes in fraudulent companies, who is taken on this corona scandal and is this corruption of agendas on defrauding humanity. Have you heard about this one?
Yes, I've heard about that. Rocco Galati has taken it on in Canada. So I think each country has a lawyer or lawyers that are handling this. But to go back to the docs that we're speaking about all this, if people want to check that out, you can go to worlddoctorsalliance.com, and on there's an open letter. And the open letter is an opportunity for you to read through and sign this open letter. You don't have to be from Germany or the UK. It's a global initiative. So they want people from all over the globe to sign this thing that they understand and agree with what these people are trying to accomplish. So again, that's worlddoctorsalliance.com. Go and check it out and read the stats for yourself. Yay!
Thank you for that. I was actually looking for where I can find this because it's been all over Facebook. And if you lose a thread on Facebook, it's like, where is that? And it wasn't rocking up on YouTube. And
chances are it's been taken down, Clara. Honest to God, it's so I'm really fortunate to be plugged into a lot of good people. You guys have got to go off Facebook. And I don't mean to go off Facebook and leave it. I mean, you need to go off Facebook to go to the .com. You've got to go to the .com. So it's like, I have a leahmattinson.com. And so it's those .coms, the censorship people cannot touch your actual website. So when people are nursed on and stuck to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, even Twitter, there's been at least 10 people that have been completely deplatformed off of those main medias in the last 2 weeks. And that doesn't include the two big kahunas that I've talked about prior, because we can't really say their names.
What, you mean David Icke?
Well, you're going to say it, but we might get ousted. I hate to say it, but it's true. So there's people follow, like Santa Surfing she has about 300,000 followers. She got deplatformed. She's been deplatformed from Twitter 7 times. 7 times. So sorry. I know we're kind of getting off in the weeds. This
whole freedom of speech thing, where did that get lost? Why is it is it the manipulators are allowed to carry on chatting their bullshit? Sorry, but 100%. I don't know what else to call it. And yet people that are coming in from different angles going, have you thought about it from this angle? I've got to reframe on this. Think for yourselves, people. You know, this is what this self-advocacy goes all the way back to. What feels right for you? What doesn't? Research it, cross-reference. What whispers have you heard? What information have you got? Let's pool resources. Let's go for, because this is otherwise, God knows what's going to, where are we going to be sitting this time next year if we don't do something now? And all the astrologers are saying we've got till the solstice on December the 21st to put our flags in the ground, draw lines in the sand, that brilliant round table that Sasha Stone and the Reclaim Your Lives did a couple of weeks back. It was just like, come on.
Right. Come on. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time of you know what, like September is so much fun. I know we're into October now, but September for me often is a reset in the in life. It's September's for whatever reason, because, school started and athletics started and all this new juice was always starting in September, and it's fall and kind of just, there's a shift between summer and fall. And so it's like thinking for people, when we're saying rise up or think about things or awaken, it's this opportunity to, kind of catch yourself on fire again about something that's regenerative and restorative within yourself. So understanding, back to your point, Claire, it's like some people might think that they are stuck because they've got to perform for somebody else, that they've been told that they can't say stuff, that they can't think a particular way. I know here that I am like one of the lone wolves. I have probably about 10 people that are from that I've connected with in Alberta that are, thinking this way, talking this way. Other places are more up to speed on thinking about vaccines, thinking about their health and well-being, thinking about their fellow human being. But a lot of people are really disconnected spiritually because of so much disappointment from the church. The other thing we've been told and taught from being young is you're too much. Don't talk. So right now there's this, the coming through and coming out for everybody. So when we're saying, come on, it's like you want to shake people a little bit, shake them as you're hugging them. Come here, come on, wake up.
You can be you, exactly. And all this thing about, why don't you just wear the mask? It isn't too much for you to ask. It's like, show me that why isn't everybody who's wearing a mask going, show me that this works? Show me it works. Show me the stats. Show me the research that shows that all this mask working actually works. Because if it does, I'm there. But at the moment, we're not being shown any of that. We're blindly believing. And when you have conversations with members of your family, it's like having to be very calm about everybody has different opinions and all of that. And how is that for you? I have my parents that watch mainstream media all the time, and all they're talking about is people that have had, horrific responses to the corona back in April. And it's like, well, that's one person out of how many million? And what about the ones that are dying from other causes? And what about that? Let's get some perspective on this, people. Let's bring in the voice of reason within yourself. And you know what feels right and not. That's why Leah is always saying to us, research, do your research.
Yeah. And back to that worlddoctorsalliance.com, go check that out, because the research is there. And so it actually, one of the things you can do is use that as a tool and share it with other people. So we get into conversations, I know, and it's like, oh man, I wish I would have had that piece of information, but I didn't have it with me, and I lost the opportunity to actually help somebody else to understand things. And so this is not you're having these conversations, not from a competitive standpoint. It is from the standpoint of we are losing our humanity. We are losing our connection to God. We are losing our connection to one another. We are losing our humanity. And so this is not about winning. This is actually about trying to, this is really about trying to help somebody to see that they've sold their soul to the devil for $5 and a plastic mask across their face. And people don't get that there's this other agenda. And I think part of it is too, because people don't have this spiritual, they're not encouraged to think about themselves spiritually. And the encouragement more has been around, go get drunk, go get high, go lose yourself in whatever your little things are that you do every day. We've got this handled, people. Just as long as you do what we say, then you're going to be fine. It doesn't feel right.
No,
that. So it's like, but you drink more, you eat more, I'm not going to say the rest of the things.
Yeah, distracting people out of the truth of themselves. So that when you're pulled into your phones, I mean, we've got fantastic distracting techniques now, haven't we? We've got phones, we've got all devices, we're dropping each other messages on different platforms in different ways. And yet, where is that call to be with yourself? Well, I've just interviewed Dr. Pedram Shojai on Chi Time. He is the filmmaker and the author and Taoist abbot, and really, really cool guy. I want to speak to him for ages. And his overarching advice to all of us was, do the practice, do what nourishes you. If that is meditation, great. If that is going out for walks, great. If that is noticing that nature all around you all the time is supporting you, really soak that in and love that. See how that makes you feel. But I asked him, I said, what would you say was the key practice of people coming into like wanting to get in touch with their inner nature? You know, let's not even use the word spiritual here, just like what your inner nature is, the way that you think to yourself, the way you relate to yourself, the way you notice the little whispers on the inside. And he said the simple thing is bringing people back to their breath, to the awareness of the breath, which we know is across very many disciplines. But he said also to embody that breath. So softening your belly and imagining that you have a balloon in your belly, so that when you breathe in, that balloon inflates. And when you breathe out, it deflates. And that immediately, can you feel it happening now?
Yes.
Inflating
Definitely.
the balloon in your belly and then deflating it. So I thought that was a brilliant presence moment
Right.
of being that gives you back to yourself. But it also, as we know as Qigong practitioners and teachers, that this brings you into your Dantian. This is this area in your lower belly that is your place of power. This is your connection to the power of the earth. It's where the power of the cosmos also comes and meets in the middle. So we could go on a lovely internal alchemy journey here, but really the most important thing is presencing yourself there and being with this balloon. And I would like to add, what color is your balloon here, so that you can allow or invite in the color, the frequency of the color that your system is asking for. And you know you can't get color wrong. So one day it might be a red balloon, another day it might be a yellow one, green one. Your system changes and needs different frequencies from you at different times. But just think simple presencing techniques. Did you like that one, Leah?
Love it. And don't judge the color of your balloon, people.
No, exactly.
And don't ask other people what their color of their balloon is. No. Unless they offer it up, then that's cool. But it's your own practice. It's your own.
It is.
It's your own practice.
And of course, you can take that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of this Qigong personal energy work, is that you can do that anywhere. You don't need a yoga mat.
No, you need nothing.
You'd be with
you need yourself.
Presence. You need yourself. You need yourself to come in, and you know that your mind's going to twinkle about all over the shop, because that's what minds do. So give it something to think about that you want it to think about.
Right.
Get into your balloon belly. So that interview is up on Chi Time TV. On YouTube. It's also part of UK Health Radio this week, where you're going to get the tunes involved and a little bit more chat from me. And we do have Dr. Pedram coming in again in a few weeks' time to carry on, talk more about Qigong. So I'm really, really thrilled and honoured that he's agreed to come be part of the show, because I've been wanting to speak to him for ages, and I learned so much from the guests that I have. And I know that's something that you recognize.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome, Claire, because that's the attitude we all ought to have, right? Is like, how are we learning from everybody in our life? So whether they're a doctor, or they're your grandchild, or they're your children, or they're your neighbor, and sometimes the lessons don't necessarily feel that, comfortable, but what is it that we're learning about ourselves from all of this stuff that comes? And that hubris, that learning, curiosity is the connection. That's how we connect with other people. Because then we're not just like yap about ourselves, but we are curious about, hey, what's going on with you? What's going on over there? What do you know? And taking it in through our own filtration system and deciding how we feel about it.
Yeah,
but when we know, blah, blah, blah.
So rather than getting my opinions right and you're wrong, it's like, well, I've got this far with all this info. There's no way any of us know what's really going on, but we've got a little bit of the info somewhere. And does that correspond with what you've got? Oh, you've got that angle. Oh, you've got that angle on it. Hadn't thought of it like that. That's interesting. So we get that we're in this together. We're not against each other. We're actually in this together. And there's a real opportunity for us to notice that and rise up as humanity, build the communities of truth and resilience and care and consideration and innovation and possibility. Think of the kids coming up now, people in their early 20s. What brilliance are they bringing through? What intelligence have they got? What ideas can they bring to us? That we can, because you cannot solve the problem, is that Einstein thing, with the original thinking. Exactly. You have to come at it from a different angle, and what better than us, the youngsters that are coming up, that can see all of this. So
yes, and let's be for each other. Like there's a concept. Let's be for one another. It's like, wow, for you, it's even one step further than against and with. It's for. I'm for you, man. I'm for you. I'm for you being successful and seeing things and just growing, loving. And I've been so, whatever. It's because of the mind of curiosity. But people go, why are you so well? Why am I so well? I'm so well because I actually looked at other people who were well in lots of different ways and went, what in the world are you doing? And that exponentially helped me to shed old things that were just not working. I'll give a really good example. Physical example. I used to run 10K a day. Amongst all the other training that I was doing with athletes, I ran 10K every single day. So a lot of people are going, oh, that's brilliant. No, it's like, no, actually, it's really, really punishing. And so it's punishing on your joints. It's punishing. I'm a girl. So I've got other parts of me.
Yeah, that wobble.
And that don't want to do this.
No, sure.
So that's what it does. But the wisdom of somebody saying to me along the way, do you know actually running ages you? And just that I went, what? I never thought about it from that perspective. But then I got curious that way, right? So it's like looking for the wisdoms of things and the nuggets of things and the actual truth of things that is good for you. I'm going,
because
oh my God, now what does it mean to not run every day? It's a little bit of a mind screw, right? But wow,
it's
my
something
body
that you're used to, but you thought it was doing you good. This is such a good point. Number one, the good point that you brought up was that to be for one another, to be for one another. This was the key on this retreat I was on. When you feel supported, you can speak, even if it's a difficult conversation, you know that person has got you and wants to hear it all. And then it's like, what wisdoms have they got? So, I used to be a runner and then I knackered my knees or something. It's like, no one says that. But when you get this truth from one another, there's nothing else behind it. There's no other agenda. They're not trying to sell you something. There's, it's like actually the truth of like, I care about you and I've been through something like that. That's why telling one another's stories is so rich, because it's just a sharing of stories of life with no product attached to it.
And this being dissociated from one another is how they get us messed up. Because we're not telling each other stories. We're not. We've lost that whole thing through this stuff here, which is our heads are down, our kids' heads are down. We don't tell each other stories anymore. We order skip the dishes or whatever it is. We don't cook together anymore. We don't fellowship anymore, or whatever you call it when you're women.
Yes, it's sisterhood circles. But you are so right. And so they're being away for 6 days. Nobody mentioned the C word once, apart from a couple of times where we were like, take that, COVID, because it was like, we are not being swayed from our human nature. There's a much more important story of humanity that is evolving behind this, and it's really important to remember that you're part of this and that the part you play in it is very key as well. Your choices have a voice, something I go on about a lot, but it's true. And the smoke screen of what's happening right now is not real life. Don't forget who you really are. Don't forget what's really important to you.
Right. Yeah, and that Sasha Stone and I talked about that. Definitely, it's like, so he's coming on Master Your Life. He's been on the last 3 weeks. And just because there's so much stuff coming through. So we talk about, the astrological, the physical, the, church stuff, the high, the human trafficking, and bring it all into a nice tied up piece at the end of every episode. But because there's so much coming through again, but before this December 21st date, and why it's so important for us to get our minds clear.
Yeah.
So right now, something that I'm just getting an enormous amount of messages about is, Leah, do you think it's real? And then the next thing, do you think this is real? Do you think this is real? Because people are afraid of stuff. And you know what? I think that there is a lot of real stuff going on, because we see things coming out now that governments are getting in place materials to build internment camps. And I'd like to say that's not true, but the Canadian government, you guys can suss this out. Randy Hillier, who is one of our MPs in Ontario, has been very vocal and shut down in question period, asking people from procurement, why do we have an order for camp materials, so housing for people, basically, and I'll call them something like sea cans. So and that's for real. That's for real politician, real Canadian guys standing in the House talking with the government, and he got completely shut down. No answer. So this has actually gone on. He's been interviewed on several shows now about this evidence of what is this for? What are these camps for? What is this? Who's building these? Who are they meant to house? Why would we have that? And people are going, oh, it is a facility for people to go that have COVID. It's like, what? It's a quarantine facility. Like, it's a quarantine facility. This seems much more like a concentration camp facility. And so people need to actually know that it's not just happening here. So you need to be going, is that happening? Why is it happening? Who is it for?
What are they saying?
You know what? The Canadian government isn't capable of building anything in anything less than 3 to 5 years. I'm sure it's similar where you live, right? So you go, the government.
Well, having said that, all these Nightingale hospitals in the UK that were suddenly came up quickly that frankly haven't
it's a miracle, isn't it?
Been used. And yet, what are they there for? What are they there for? I mean,
fast.
I am over in the UK. I mean, so exactly. Yes. They can mobilize troops when they want to. Don't even get me started about 5G, because that's clearly being part of their agenda. I know we could wax on. Maybe we'll do a show about that coming up. But what I'd like to sort of just speak about now is what's happening in the UK over here since the government has rolled out this 3-tier system, which is, okay, get this. They did an announcement of a new plan. And in that same announcement, the chief medical officer said, this definitely won't work. So they've said, this is the plan, and then they're saying, but it's not going to work. It's like, what? How are these buffoons still getting away with this?
Paid.
And getting paid for it.
We are paying these people. So it's like, oh my God.
So what's happened up in Liverpool? Because up north, this is where the northern counties are being really hit, but the northern people are strong. They are really on it. They're not going to be pushed around anymore. And there's a mayor in Liverpool that is just spurring on this lockdown rebellion. And so watching this happen, there are gyms that are going, we're not going to close. We're just not going to take any notice of this, because it's a farce. You can't prove what you're trying to do. It's just a complete. So there is very little confidence in the government here in the UK, and goodness knows what is going to happen.
Wonderful to hear, because again, last week I was hearing from a woman from Wales who said that she was really disappointed with the men in the Welsh men, because there's no Welsh men who were, beat on your chest, not used to be beat on your chest, not actually let anyone do anything to violate their fellow man or their person or their way of life. And now they're just laying down and letting whatever steamroller them. And so there is also that we could talk about masculine, feminine, right? Now too, it's like, where is this male energy? And where's the protection? Where's the provision of that male?
For family.
Yes, exactly. For family, for business, for community.
Standing up.
Like, people's moral compass is a bit.
Where is it? Where is your moral compass, people? I mean, I know a lot of you are doing good out there as well, but let's continue these conversations, and let's have, because if you stay silent, then you're actually consenting to the mainstream. It's like, do you want this? Do you want what's going on right now? Or we want to make sure we're not giving vulnerable people illnesses. Well, haven't you always thought like that? This isn't a new thing. But you haven't gone around wearing masks. You just haven't gone out when you haven't been feeling very well. Let's get perspective, people. Let's ask the scientists who aren't being paid by Big Pharma. Let's ask the doctors who actually see real patients and people. Okay, what happened with President Trump last week or week before, where he had corona apparently, and then he got better in a trice because he decided to do his own thing on it. I mean, what's going to come out about that is that there are different ways of treating this, and that the vaccine is not the answer.
Right. I think right now, though, Dolores Cahill, so Dolores is part of this doctor, or she's a professor. Dolores, she's talked very openly since this thing started. She's a brilliant woman. Since it started, she has been a voice of reason. So people check her out, Dolores Cahill, and she is part of this World Doctors Alliance, as well as a lot of other things. but she's from Ireland.
Oh yes, I've seen her. Yes,
She speaks
yes,
very directly to this
yes.
idea of how viruses move along, what the actual stats are. And so because Ireland's so small, she's got a very good handle on it, because doctors who have written the wrong thing on death certificates are now being taken to task because Aunt Polly's, Aunt Polly, who died of Alzheimer's, did not die of COVID. And on the death certificate, it says that, and family members are going, no, it didn't. She didn't die of that. And so she's a good one to actually, if you're, wanting to research Dolores Cahill, check her out.
Yeah.
And it's just, and she's the up-to-date information. So it would be different than the information. It'll be the same information, but with the new WHO numbers from March to now. So end of September, she did an interview. So you can I'm sure you can Google search and find it and watch it. And then you can watch the new updates. She has lots of Q&A. So it's a really good one to just catch up on that bit. She's been traveling without a mask. So, and had some really interesting conversations with people who are running the airport. So if you want to educate yourself about how to handle yourself in the world, it's watching people who are handling themselves in the world, and then learning their words and learning what they say and learning how they think, and changing your thinking about what you're doing, and being grounded and knowing that your first human right is to be a human. Like, he states it really well, right? It's just like, it's not about the laws, and it's our inalienable right is to have nobody do anything to us that we don't want done. Number one, we have that right. We are born with it. It's intrinsic. As a person, nobody is allowed to actually touch you or do anything to you without your permission. And that's far beyond the Nuremberg trials, although it restated it there. Just as a natural living man or woman or child, that it's just like your right to your humanity and to not be violated is your right. So no matter what anybody else says about anything, you have the right to say no. It's no thanks, that's not for me. And no matter what rule they throw at you, the answer still is no thanks, that's not for me. Now what they're trying to do is give us consequences that we will not be able to live our current life unless we say yes to things. So you're not going to get paid, you're not going to get to go to work, you're not going to get any of the benefits of being in this human race unless you acquiesce to wearing a mask, unless you play along with us, unless you get the vaccines when they come. So they're not going to be mandatory vaccines. There's going to be manipulation until you have to say yes. So are you ready for that? Like, are you ready?
Really standing up for yourself.
Yeah. And are you prepared in this real world to live without money, to live without government assistance, to live, and hopefully you're thinking about your collaborative, bigger network, your human beings that are going to collectivize and help support one another, right?
This brings in the question, what can we do? What can we do to prepare? If part of society is splitting off into this acquiescence to the manipulative agenda, what can free-hearted, free-minded, intelligent people do to provide for themselves and their families? Like you say, if we can't use money anymore, if we can't access government funding for anything, if we, who knows, it probably happened in a bit, but we do need to know where we can go to feel safe, where we can be in community. And this whole isolation of people living on their own needs to end as well. How do we do that? So I've just been living in community with 8 other people, and it was taught me so much. I was wanting to do this, and it was like, how do I, because I'm fiercely independent, been living on my own for years. How does someone like me live in community? We have to go there and try it. You have to go, right, if I leave stuff hanging about, I know I've left it hanging about, but that might be in the way of what someone else might want to use the table for something else. So it's not that you're crazily clearing up after yourself all the time, but you're more mindful that you're in a communal space. And when you're in a communal space, the artifacts that you leave around that need to be considered more than it would if it was your own space. But also the communal cooking, the communal shopping, the communal cleaning. It's like, great, you have conversations about this. I mean, we had a big old one about the meals, how do we do this? So getting into an opportunity, maybe not just your family, can we live as a community, and how can we actually do that in a way in this world? Do we have to actually build dwellings on ground and near a spring, making sure you've got your water supply? I mean, how off grid can you go? What does off grid feel like to you? Does it feel like something that's exciting or something that's scary?
Yeah, and I think that we've been having the same conversations here, and I'm very fortunate to have been raised on a farm, so I have a lot of experience that I didn't realize a lot of other people don't. It's been a blessing because I know how to raise livestock. I know how to actually take care of livestock, grow gardens, all that stuff. So what people are asking me is exactly this question. It's how do we be resourceful if things get shut off? So how would I, even survive without the internet is what some people are saying. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So basic things, get your pantry together with flour, yeast, sugar. And people are going to go, sugar. Well, because you need some sugar sometimes in order to be able to bake things, right? So it's just cooking even requires a little
coconut sugar. I made a lovely crumble with coconut sugar. It was yum. Ooh.
So we don't have coconuts here. So what I'm going to tell you,
right, okay, like local stuff.
Local stuff. Think about what you grow.
Yeah.
So we grow potatoes here. We grow carrots here.
Yeah.
We grow onions here, garlic, cabbage, not so much. We sure as hell don't have bananas. We don't have oranges.
Avocados.
We have apples. So it's like, think about what actually is what is natural to where you live. So we grow grain. We grow wheat, we grow barley, flax, canola. So it's like, that's our natural things that we grow here that were brought, here by Europeans.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of have here. We have, meat. So we have access to deer. We have access to whatever else is on the land, rabbits and things. So you need to have people who can hunt, fish, can preserve, and know how to make flatbread. So let's say that you actually don't have the ability to have an oven. Have somebody that's good at collecting wood. So they go out and get all the wood. They get that pre-cut. They get that already. You have a nice little cooking thing that you can actually have either, wood fire, or because actually coal is natural to Alberta. Go get some coal. Go get some. So it is a natural product that is here. And so there's solar lighting now. So you can go and because they're not going to take the sun away. So if you can get your hand on solar lights that are inexpensive, get that, because really part of the human spirit as well is being in a lit space. And so right now in Alberta, it's dark. Canada it's dark. The days are short. The sunlight is short, I should say.
Really?
Yeah, it's getting shorter. And it's colder. It snowed yesterday here. I'm like, what?
Is that really unheard of? When does it usually snow?
Well, it's not unheard of, but I sure wasn't happy about it. Like, what the hell? But you need to be prepared. So do you have clothing that's proper? Like, do you have long underwear? Socks,
do you have
mitts,
good footwear? If you making sure your spectacles are up to date, but also water. What is your water supply? It's so important. Are you harvesting rainwater? Are you then filtering that rainwater?
Yes.
So what can you, I think this is really wise words, and we're going to carry on. We've got, we're nearly at the end of this episode of The New True with myself, Laura Apollo, and the gorgeous Liam Manson-Ray.
Liam. But just, think about, honestly, camping. Just think about
what would you take to camp? Yeah,
camping.
Sure.
Yeah, camping. And so that way, you have good sleeping bags and good shelter somewhere. And that and it's not survivalist, it is smart. You should have that stuff anyway.
I've got a wind up radio. I just thought it's probably a good idea to get a wind up radio that's got a light on it as well. And then anything that I want to print out pictures of my family whilst I still can, that kind of thing. And so what is it we would lose in the cloud? We wouldn't be able to do this show, for instance. So I'm super grateful that we can do this now. It's really cool linking up from Avalon, Somerset, UK over to Alberta, Canada. It's magical, and speaking to you that are listening around the world. So while we have this facility, really in deep gratitude for it, is magical.
Yes. And of course we're hoping that all of it blows over, but it's just being pragmatic and not leaving it to somebody else to figure it out.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
a key
so
thing.
that whole, you need to figure out who's in your corner also. I think this is a good clarifying time to understand that not all of your friends are going to be in your corner, and some of them
Yeah.
you might not even actually want to bring into your new tribe. So this is a really important thing. Like, do you have people in your life that are toxic and would make it impossible for you to live?
Mm-hmm.
And you know who they are. So you just, it's going, would I want that in my village?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Well,
it's
you know
like,
what? What's that? That saying that you are the sum total of the 5 people that you hang out with.
that's right.
And I've
Yeah.
just been with 8 awesome people, and I felt
Yes.
really different at the end of that. That's what
Yeah.
it's like to feel. I feel like that their presence is with me now,
Mhm.
and it will continue onwards. It's just
Yeah.
something was ignited, a recognition at a soul level, soul group.
Right.
You don't
Right.
want anyone around you that doesn't vibe right. You anybody that is always pulling you down or telling you off or not listening to you.
Or
It's
ripping
like,
you off,
well, ripping
you
you
off
off as well.
too.
It's just like, you know what, bye. You
Yeah.
can chat as much as you want, but if someone isn't interested in having a conversation, because conversations are always two-way. I mean, with you and I here,
Yeah.
we listen to one another. I'm
Mhm.
interested in what you have to say. I'm not wanting to talk over you with what my latest idea is. It's like, what is she going to come out with next? And how is that my response to that going to be? And that's the same out in everyday life.
Right. Yeah. Collectivize. Go back to that list of the human things that we need to do. Mutual aid,
I like
mutual
it.
benefit. Those are,
Yeah.
that's actually, that is it. Mutual aid and mutual benefit is
Love
why
it.
we are here. And so we've been really fed a complete load of horse manure about the idea that this standing alone is a good idea. And it is it's an indoctrination. We've all done it, my friends. We've all been there. We've all done it. We're all
Yeah.
having this really great opportunity to go. If I could spend my life with the next 2 years, who would be the people that I would go, oh my God, I can't wait to wake up every day with you? Every single day, that's one thing. And even if people are curmudgeony, I think there's a few people that are curmudgeony that I would still love to be with, because they are growing. So they're growing, they've got skills, they've got things that they are learning how to do in life, and I would much rather be with those people that have their moral compass dialed in. And they're curmudgeony because they're not happy with the state of the nation right now. But I know that when they get up every morning, that they're going, I'm not satisfied with this life I want. And I am tapped into having a better life. I'm tapped into what is it I'm doing today that's creating a better life for me and my family and my community.
Yeah, that's so true. It brings us around to self-advocacy again. What is
Yeah.
okay and what is not. And it's not okay to be going along with this cultural compromise that we're being fed.
Yes.
It's just not.
Yes.
So,
Oh my God, my men, where are you? I was in
they're there. I
Canadian
was
Tire
listening.
and everybody's wearing a mask. I'm like, oh my God. I thought maybe at one point, for those of you who don't know, I've been single a long time. Just was like, okay, maybe one day I'll meet the man of my dreams in Canadian Tire, because we like to shop at the same place.
Yeah, not wearing a mask.
Last time I was like, everybody's wearing a mask. I'm like, all the men, all of my potential new partners masked up. Oh my God.
And that is a whole nother topic. So we're going to be back again in a fortnight on October the 30th.
That's
So just before the Halloween. And I think it'd be good to speak into about the ancestors and the reverence that we have for them and the wisdom that's coming through our elders. But as usual, Leah and I will be speaking about exactly what we want, what's coming through at the moment, with our fingers on the button as much as we can be, or fingers on the pulse, shall we say, not on the button, and to bring through the true for you. So if you've got any comments that you'd like to make, please do get in touch underneath this video, or head over to our Patreon page, which Leah is going to tell you about now.
Yes, Patreon at The New True Show, the TNT Patreon site. We'll put it below the video so that you can find it quickly and easily. But if you like what we're talking about, you like what we're bringing through, you like the conversation, and you want to support the show, we would love to have you be a part of that.
We would.
So you can check it out by coming to the Patreon, and you'll see there's different levels of involvement and engagement, and some of them include being able to spend some time with Claire and I on live, and of course,
Yeah.
maybe once a month doing a little live Q&A. And so we're growing and investigating and expanding that as well. So if you want to spend some more time with us one-on-one or whatever, then you can well, not whatever,
but also
what I mean.
we're interested to know what bits you've been getting hold of. What can you teach us about? What have you got going on that we go, hang on, I've got something that I'd like to add to the conversation here. So we're saying we are all in this together, and that is the opportunity of this time to notice that.
And one of
to
the
be with
things I
that.
really appreciate on my other YouTube stuff is when people comment. So there's
I
been lots
know,
of
it's
comments
good, isn't
coming
it?
through, and it's so much fun to actually answer the
It
comments.
is. It
And
is.
I get lots of suggestions, which is very cool. A lot of people
Very
suggest all
cool.
kinds of things. Well, if you're interested in this, Leah, why don't you look
Yeah,
at this? And I don't
sure.
necessarily get to look at everything, but just that energy of the exchange of give and take is a lot of fun, And so it builds momentum to go, oh, I already know about that, but what about this next thing? And what about this next thing? And it doesn't mean that everything that we say is for you. It doesn't mean that everything you share with us is for us. It just means that we are in this collective spirit together going, all right, what's for me and what is for mine to just let go. So that's really what we're hoping to do. And we wanted to go live. So I'm going to just say this at the end. We really wanted to go live last week or last 2 weeks ago and today, but YouTube's got something going on where we cannot go live. So there's adjustments that happen at year end in the US, and definitely we've been warned that it affects the way that the internet operates. So just
have to
trust
do what
that
we
we're
can do.
trying, man. We're trying to get on live.
We are. We will do. We will troubleshoot that, because this is the kind of women we are. So brilliant. But thank you for your time and your wisdom and your love, Leah. It's so great hanging out with you here.
Thank you for yours as well, Claire. I hope you have a wonderful 2 weeks, because that's when we're going to be back. What is the date of that?
30th of October at
30th of October. So you guys make sure that you share if you like what we're doing. Let people know.
Come over to the Facebook page, all that
Come over
stuff.
to the Facebook page. All right.
All right, then. Much love to you all. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye.